if I ever get an introduction, I'll add it later. I'm going to keep rolling with live research, and because I just want to get information out there. The burden of the Lord is on me these last few days with everything going on, that I don't care what topic it is. If I find it interesting, I'm putting it out there. There's the eagle, the double-headed eagle. The Illuminati has copied that. The University of Chicago, I don't care if it was, when or where it was founded. It's Rockefeller now. It's in trouble. But it looks like the original one. I don't see the rocker. Oh, there it is right there. It's in there. So it says it was established in 1890. And when we go to look at it, if I get that far to look at the architecture, it'll be old world. It'll be, we just can't do that anymore. And each one of the buildings will be glorious St. Petersburg style, and just, boy, you need to think about it. Everything happened there. And Chicago was just built over a massive Native American. They were forts, farms, effigy mounds that they admit to, and just so many things that they just tore it all down. Chicago fire. But even along the shoreline now, just like at Brighton Beach, you can still see how they, outlined it, just threw away all the rubble from what they destroyed. And some of the, the erosion prevention megaliths that they use still have, you can see the inscriptions on them. The waves have washed away a lot, but they're still there. The reason I came here, and I'm going to look for it now, is they have all of these things that Rhodes Scholars and everything else. This was a hub. This is a Illuminati, Jesuit, Pope hub. But they have the largest instrument in the world here, from what I just read. And I wanted to take a look at it because some of these things are, I just did a short one about them, and they are amazing. Just think of all these people right at the end of the Christian Golden Age, just ready to, they were just going to stab everybody back and take over. Now, the link led me here for this Kyrion, I think it's called, or a Glockenspiel. It's a double chime. A chime has 24 or less. Shimer College. My sister went there. During the period, the university, like Shimer and 10 others, adopted an early entrant program that allowed very young students to attend college. In addition, students enrolled at Shimer were enabled to transfer automatically to the University of Chicago after their second year, having taken comparable or identical examinations and courses. I'm going to go back and study that guy. It's an art school. I don't know if, at the time, there's a lot of artists and I didn't understand. Okay. Good. Darfur mentioned. Where is that? But just dig it. Go look this stuff up. You'll see. It's like always, everywhere, all big cities has these type of buildings. We can't explain them. They're just there. It was built, always just a little while ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago. You remember Jimmy's dad worked on it. Oh, yeah, sure. Whatever. We don't remember. We don't know how all these castles and everything got here all over the world, but they are. They're castles, same quality, same style, same statues out front, same celebrating the same, you know, humanistic teachers of Sartre, Kant, everywhere that they do around the world. That, oh, it's just we just put them on there because, you know, we all studied them. They're that good. Look at that. They always take they always take them and either turn them into hospitals. In New York, they took all the castles and turned them into insane asylums because that's where they put the people that said, hey, I remember when somebody lived in this castle, and they say, now you're in there. And we always were wondering how the Khmer Rouge, they just killed anybody with any education after the, you know, they try to deprogram them. Yeah. They just, if you remember the past, they killed you. Yeah, let's just eat lunch here every day and just think, I wonder why the other schools don't have this, except, you know, Georgetown, the Ivy Leagues, the big ones that claimed them first. They didn't build them. This was the previous Native Americans who had just as equal of a culture that when we came over here and killed them. Which is why we had such a hard time getting immigrants to follow suit. Until after they did a lot of, I mean, they really are living in a Hogwarts world. When I was the athletic director at Christian Liberty Academy, we would go play some of, you know, because we were a smaller school and our conferences, I mean, we couldn't play the public schools. They had 5,000 kids, right? 2,000, some of them. And we play the small other private schools, and we go to this one, you know, called Roycemore, and right on the lake, old school. You know, they'd say, oh, yeah, we've been in existence for 120 years. And you're like, a lot older than that. Here was your original CERN, wasn't big enough. They tried to figure eight, get them colliding, going that way, tried to whip them around, use their gravity, spin it. We got to hug that earth like an Armageddon, right, Bruce Willis? Get us out of here. We need the slingshot. The arts. Maybe we'll get that. But, you know, look around. You'll find, you know, I could drop on any one of these and just have a great time learning and studying. And when things like that happen, this was the official, the Chicago Maroons. That must be a new name. Oh, and I guess not. The Chicago Maroons, Jay Berwinger, Heisman Trophy back in 1935. Wow. Yeah, these guys are neck deep in it. Their fraternities, there are some really good videos out there about how all of your fraternities and sororities are just brainwashing you. Set it up, come in here, let us help you. They mentioned that scavenger hunt a number of times, didn't they? Here's some, oh yeah. Well, you guys recognize all of these as the big names, don't you? Wow. And that could very well be, you know, if they had this picture right here of this arch, and underneath it was the caption, confusing Gothic Ottoman mix, you'd believe it because you don't know. You'd buy it. You'd be like, yeah, that's confusing Turkish Ottoman. Gothic too. Rounded, sloped angle. Yeah, megaliths. Yeah, we'll take whatever they say because you don't know. You haven't looked at a stone. You don't know. Well, they got it all there. Corks, everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. Huh. Anthony Scalia. Everybody goes there. My stupid ex-sister-in-law's one or only husband, Andrew, went here. He was a real scumbag. And I don't know if she's straight or gay, but she lived with a girl for 15 years and it was all platonic. And how could I ever even wonder? It's because that's what kids do. But he was a jag. She's just dumb as hell. Somewhere I missed they might not have had it. I'm just going to Google it. World's largest instrument. Let's just Wikipedia it. Oh, instrument. Oh, crap. Yeah, we'll take that. World's largest instrument maker. Is this what we're looking for? But now we just were told that was supposed to be in Northwestern University. Oh, Boardwalk Hall, largest convention center thing. Well, let's look at that, man. I'm telling you, see, that's another one from the golden age. Oh, we don't know how we, it's like an old Capitol building. I wonder what this line is. Oh, maybe a rip. And it's right on the beach, too. You can see there's some engravings here, but this is, this is the largest thing, the largest convention center in the world. It's in Atlantic City. Comfort Station Women. It's a funny place for the door coming right off the beach, right? Let's get rid of that one. We don't want that up there, and we don't have time to cut a new one. This looks like two seahorses. Sacred geometry. Obscured weather. Yeah. And then they put this on when they decided, oh, we need to get this science convention and, we have to hide this. It's just like the Field Museum, Museum of Sciences industry in Chicago. How'd they get there? Look at that. Wow. Navy Pier. Unexplainable things all over the world, but people don't care. People don't want to look. They don't want anything that's going to confuse them. I don't know if I get a higher resolution on this. I wanted to see that. That's as close. That's the 5,000. Let's just. It looks like something in the Academy or Tree, the Groves. I just wanted to see when they're claiming this was built. Oh, okay. The Hall House is the largest organ in the world, reads by number of barrels. Okay. And the organ was built in 1929. It didn't, so not saying where when the boardwalk was built. Oh, this was built in 3 years. 3 years. You could get it done back during the Depression, boys. Because you could always have that excuse of, we just threw a WPA at it. And, we could train those guys on the fly to embellish it to work with megaliths, polished granite, and install, at the time, $250,000 organ, which who knows what that'd be worth millions now. And we'll just trust that to anybody. Let's finally get to the organ. And there it is. It's not the one at Northwestern, but it's not even that cool. My ex-wife at a couple of churches, she could play one of these like 3 layers, 4 layers. It's just crazy. Play with the feet and everything. Tons of lessons and stuff. Yep. That was what I did for that other one. I got to go back to this. This was what the one we were looking for. And it looks like I'm frozen here. Just freshen that up a little bit. I'm burning up a lot of bandwidth here. So they were going to have the other one that was the largest pipe one or something. I don't know if we got to take a look at it. The reason I cut off on that other one is I thought for some reason I thought, oh, I'm not even recording. Something happened. And I wanted to make sure. Topics. That was the subway? Let's get ready to get blown away in the subway. They'll have tunnels that for a small city that when they were built, and I believe that we're not, I keep thinking of Rochester, New York, but this is Rochester, Minnesota. Oh, we are back in New York here. Oh, Rochester, New York. And then the Rochester subway. Because so then we'll be looking at some tunnels and stuff, because in New York they could tunnel. They had you should check out my earlier videos about the pneumatic air-powered train. It was amazing. It went under the river, connecting Manhattan in 1870. And it explains how we got to modern tunneling. We copied their pattern. And it's just like how do we, the concrete that we have right now, uh, it's not as good. We admit that, as what we find everywhere else around the world that's only as old as like 120 years. And, you do a little history, you find out that, the reason that we couldn't, make concrete is that we didn't have the recipe. It was lost in history. And then somebody found it, but, it says in a note, this is the backup recipe, that if in case you can't find the original materials that were listed. And so we did have the materials for the backup. It works good enough, better than anything we had. But there's so much of history that always comes up to, we just don't know where, it's like we didn't know how to make concrete. We lost information about concrete. This is a fire. Okay. Not really showing much of that tunnel, but that building looks pretty big. What is this? That's right downtown, huh? The river runs out there. Yeah. Yeah, they built on top of an Indian old capital. Okay, let's see what we have here. 1950s something construction built on these megaliths that are definitely the natives, same as the Erie Canal. And now this other one, metal structure, another metal bridge, 60s or 70s. I can see these stone ones, they're probably older. At least the trusses will be built on the foundation of the original. You can see here, when they were, they could cut this off, make this down. You can tell that they put in, there's a megalith that is kind of cracked and there's exposed there. So all of these are showing that. You can see that this is probably put right on the bedrock. If you can see where my mouse is going right now, all, covered in here. This part here might be poured new concrete, but you can see the outline of this is what's supporting it. This is the strength of the original. And, you could just, nobody bothers to ask. It's like, hey, that's cool. And, they've got something, back there for flood prevention. Our whole world was designed for flood control. The star fort features that you're going to be, looking for here would be this tower and this tower here, far enough apart so that they will, they'll try to make a convincing argument, I'll bet, that, and claim this is natural. Of course it's not. There's a wall. Keep looking. There's just, and when you see something and it's out of the ordinary, you just don't care. Oh, this ought to be good. Subways around the globe. Wait till maybe they'll have We'll just see what the Lord brings us. I like the ones when they'll show hidden Subway. Boy delivered in Subway. Oh no, D. Okay, who we got here? I guess we're gonna have to go to the Boston Subway. You know what I'm gonna do is get off of this page. That's a pretty poor choice of search, but you've seen these, you know, lost subways. Old Subway. Get ready. A picture. You can see if you ouch. That's fake. What's this, folks? This is their subway map. Oh, I love these. I have a lot of these. And this is what they expect us to believe, you know, that they could do. So while we're supposed to believe, you know, that they're riding around on horses and they're cowboys and Indians just 500 miles west, you know, they considered Kentucky the West, Wild West. They were digging tunnels through the bedrock, having express local things. Nice. Big bubbles, no troubles. They could do it. Hope you guys know how to read a map. What year was this? Not having any luck. Oh, what's this? Private property on the river? Under the river? Wow. Oh, that's in 1904. So this is a New York subway souvenir. Yeah, they you know, their idea was to turn it into a tourist thing, you know. They were already publishing this, you know, they marketed it. They sold these things, and they were focused on, bread and circuses even then. Broadway Tunnel versus Wine Tunnel. Of course, that's the 1904 map. Come on, give me something now. Beauty, the handmaiden of utility. I like that. What do surface cars carry today? Here's this Jerome Park Reservoir. See, this would spark my interest and I would be checking it out. But it was not alone in tunneling and in railroad construction that Mr. McDonald had displayed his genius. His splendid ability was so recognized in the working out of the gigantic enterprise, the building of the Jerome Park Reservoir, begun in 1895. The original contract was for $6 million, but will probably exceed the amount before completion. Because remember, this was written in 1904. So at least they're admitting it took in 9 years. The outline of the reservoir is somewhat unique, being irregularly oblong, about 1 mile long. What? 1 mile and 1.5 mile in width. That's not a reservoir, that's a lake. It forms almost an artificial lake bounded on the north. Oh, we're going to take a look at that. How about 2 billion gallons of water? That's a lot. There could surely be no mistake in choosing a man. This guy McDonald, they're giving a lot of credit, aren't they? He's a genius. I've studied the Croton Reservoir and some of the other ones. They are all just blowing me away. I'm not going to hope they have any more pictures here. I'm still trying to be somewhat considerate of your time, but you police your own time. I'm on if you want to stick around, stick around. We'll find something but if not, come back later and fast forward. What is this DEP police? See the wall in the back, and all of those are megalith. It's like the Roman roads and how they still last, except we don't get it talked about because we don't have that here. We can't admit it. But here underneath it, this will probably be a construction picture that you'll see that all they're doing is repairing it. Barnhart side plow. Clear off the tracks. The corner of it. Kingsbridge Terrace. See those aqueducts? Roman style. We always hear those Romans were so smart they could build aqueducts everywhere and to just carry their water. And we don't study our history. We've got so many aqueducts built in the Roman style. 6 or 7 on the Erie Canal that would have taken. It's like building a pyramid to build an aqueduct. It has to be perfect. And they're all over the United States. And the thing that I get frustrated with is I can tell, even people that I love and people that love me and be like, oh yeah, they're real castles in New York. And it's like, you mean mansions? I go no, I mean castles. Like they could film Robin Hood there or Rapunzel, they're castles. Here's the reservoir. Oh, that's the Croton one. The Croton aqueduct that you're seeing right here and the Croton Dam, more unexplained mysteries of New York City. The Croton Dam was in what is right now considered Central Park, New York. Just huge. Okay, that's pretty boring. Los Angeles Reservoir. The Croton one, they'll have a lot of old style pictures because it's New York. Look at the side. See there, that's the aqueduct dam and retaining wall that is like 70 miles from New York that starts it, and they built the canal and brought it all the way to the island, and they're still using pump number 1. And they tried to shut it down for repair once, couldn't do it, had to leave it open. It's been working continuously. Look at that. I mean, that is just beautiful. Built in the Christian Golden Age. Look at that. Look at that built into the side of that cliff. My goodness. And they just want to believe it was just one of the many projects built in those couple of years by, non-trained people. When they usually use the excuse of they went over to Great Britain and studied a little while over there and things just fell into place. They picked it up and off they went. And that's the gatehouse. Not as important as the actual, look at that, 1864 completed. That's added on there. Does that look engraved? No. That was added later. Looking for the trees. You can see bigger megaliths on the corner. We know that style. Break it out in irregular patterns. Distract the eye. Wow. Come on. All of this stuff, all of these reservoirs was from a complete infrastructurally sound civilization that it would appear the founders of our government, not the Pilgrims, not the Separatists, not the people who bought the property and came over here and invested, were just set up. The people were good. They were set up. I'm getting way too many connections to the company store, company stores. People put in bids. People's there. They had to get out of Europe because, I mean, if you study what was going on during our, revolution up until the Constitution, because we go 1776, it was all done. And I know a lot of you know that history. It's not, but, the Constitution wasn't written till 1787, 6-7 presidents before George Washington, and so that puts us up to 1887. We're, just getting started. Another war right around the 1800s, French Indian, 1812, and around the world in 1812, and those from that same time period of the 1800, 1812, that's when Napoleon was absolutely going nuts. Strings of just like Hitler, until he tried to go into Moscow, which lasted, those years set up, and he went into that with an army, three armies. His army had 450,000 men under control with 650,000, their numbers. And supposedly within a couple of years after the attacks and then his full retreat, his army had gone from the 650,000 to 30,000 men. Some were taken prisoners, and half died in the battle, half died on the march home. The Russian people have a lot of different theories about that you have not heard, and you should check out. But whatever it is, 200 years ago, I mean, right now we go nuts if our army, we lose like 3,000 people. And they were going to, Napoleon just marched off with 500,000 of their men, and the men volunteered. Let's go. Who's going to run the farm? We'll let the women worry about it. These numbers just don't make sense. Nothing does. And nothing Napoleon does. It just cleans up history, though, and I was going over that stuff with Russia and all of the different armies and everybody else. This general helped, that general helped, this count helped, this print from that kingdom. But we're still supposed to believe it was just one country, Russia, Prussia, France. No mention of Grand Tartary, which was, the maps at the time show that was the largest country. There's too many questions. Croton Reservoir. You need to look at this stuff. You need to start studying. And just ask yourself, stop, not caring. Oh, let's look at that one. Yep. You can see right now the size, based on her, from her, waist to the top of her ear, that's 2 levels of rock. Come on. That's megalith. I want to meet these people. I want to find out how they did it. And that looks like no fun. That's a good way to lose a bike. Still working. I showed in one of my other videos how, they had this here, and then, if you look it up, they'll say, well, yeah, it was rebuilt, and, then we redid it. Well, I'll show you. And how, they claimed, oh yeah, we fixed it, when really you can just tell all that they did was just re-brick it. One thing about that one app I have, it just can be annoying where when you hover over a picture, it makes it big, and you forget. Some of the old pictures, just showing, people walking. There's no court, the towers in the back. And it was a beautiful, beautiful world until we got betrayed. Now that is a picture I have not seen. I've got to get that in the world. Because it's saying 1956. Come on, be there. Wow. What is this? Yeah, these aqueducts were built in the early 1800s. Remember that. What sounds? What sounds? The whir of bats' wings, ghosts of the past, workers on the aqueduct. A message from John Jarvis. Nonetheless, an hour of silence. Croton Aqueduct Underground? How about that? No problem. 1800s? That's when we did our best work. Uh-huh. Catacombs in Paris. See, these things are the same style, same people all over the world. You couldn't tell. This is a aqueduct over the Harlem River. Hundreds of miles. How come we don't brag about our culture like that? How come nobody, how come we don't advertise for people to come see our pyramids? The largest mountain pyramids in the world in Illinois. Because we don't want people to know. None of our history fits. What's this? Another picture of the aqueduct. They're walking. There's no path for the horses, but look at the size of those buildings in the background. Croton water. Got a year on that? 1866. Look at this. Hartford, Connecticut. And all these were built in the 1800s. The stuff they're building today, look at my other videos. I go into a lot of tunneling because it just explains it. And when they tell you that, they must have just been better workers in the past, why? Why is it just a simple explanation that, okay, problem solved. Let me get back to here's some picture from the pneumatic. I'm telling you, I've gone over these so many times. I know that picture. I didn't know that there was another link to it though. This is the wrong date. Oh wait, I might have seen this. This is a good article. I'm going to end this one now. I might just pick up and just start and just show how that's fake. That's a fake photograph. And they found it. They had to use it, reverse the technology, same style, same patterns on all of the tunnels around the world. And so they had to explain it to the people. And their biggest trouble is just like as explained, Aldous Huxley and those guys, the Ministry of Re-Education. I mean, the bureaucracy of, quick, Eurasia is not our friend. We love Europa. Change all the newspapers. That's their biggest thing, and, we can believe like we did at, last November that, we're finding all these clues, but they're leaking them and they're all connected. I'm doing this right now because I'm scared to death of what I'm finding in the Homeschool Hoax series of that I was a part of, and was the same then, and couldn't even see that, Reverend Lindstrom, Christian Liberty Academy was using the original Jesuit motto, spelled the right way, admitted, saying, that I'm trying to rehabilitate the motto or something like that, or bring back its original meaning. But then, I'm a pretty good researcher, and you can research, and you can't find anybody that used it before. And, it goes back to my question, why are we doing Christmas? Well, we redeemed that holiday and took it back. Well, why don't we take back Halloween? We should take it back. We should claim it. No. We took back Easter, reclaimed it, and we're using it for the glory of God. Why don't we take back Halloween again? Those are the kind of questions that, they don't want asked. And if you're a good little sheep, you'll just say, okay, I won't ask that one anymore because I can tell you got mad. And the most important thing in the world to millennials and people my age who have been brainwashed is, did you rock the boat? Did, after somebody who was in a position of authority explain to you that there's no answer for that and we're just wasting time, and you asked them again? Please stop that. That's not Christian behavior. Like you would, and that always reminds me of the people that, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, and I'm one of those guys, get ready, you're programmed to hate me because they're both wrong. They're both two heads on the same snake. And it's like, oh, well, then who are you going to vote for? I'm not going to vote. I'm not even going to symbolize like that I am a part of this or recognize it as a real election. It's planned. You studied the election. We haven't, there hasn't been an honest election since before Kennedy, and we doubt those. We can't trust our history. We have people that, when they talk, they use a simple phrase. My great-great-great-grandfather, he was a fisherman in the Gloucester. Great-great-great-grandfather. My grandfather was born in 1880. So how old, is your great-great-great-great-grandfather George Washington's brother? We're fight that. It's part of the whole, the earth is old, our history is old. My grandfather, that means my great-great-grandfather was born before the American Revolution, way before. And we're living in times when people are talking about 200 years ago, they could just drop 500,000 soldiers in Europe while we're fighting here, while we're fighting everywhere. Do not believe history. Get on it and study. Stay on stuff. Be interested in things like this. Your video games are not helping you in any way. In any way. You might say, oh, well, I'm using math, or I'm doing this, or I'm getting quick. No, you're being brainwashed. All right, we're going to keep rolling because we don't. Oh, man. Almost. Can we wait for the 55?